Hello Year 3. Today we're going to be looking at how to group rocks depending on their properties. We're going to make some systematic and careful observations of rocks to be able to group them, and by the end we should be able to name the different types of rocks. In our last class, we learned that there were 3 different types of natural rocks, but what causes them to be different? Igneous was formed by magma or lava. We had the intrusive and extrusive different types of igneous. We learned that sedimentary was formed under the sea or under some water, sometimes just on land as well, but mostly formed under the sea as the result of sedimentation, compaction, and cementation. We also learned about metamorphic. Remember the Hulk, he is morphing, he's changing. So the metamorphic rocks are igneous or sedimentary rocks that change because of the closeness to magma, a lot of pressure, and changes in tectonic plates. If I handed you a rock and said, "Tell me about the rock," what adjectives would you use to describe them? Let's have a think about that now. The following are a list of common properties of rocks. We have hard or soft, permeable or impermeable, durable, and dense. Hard and soft. Some rocks, like granite, are very, very hard, incredibly hard, and can only be cut or split with specialist tools. On the other hand, clay is a soft rock and can be easily molded and shaped just by your hands. Can you find any hard or soft rocks in your collection? The next one is permeable or impermeable. If a rock is permeable, for example pumice, this means that it allows water to pass through it. Can we think about another permeable thing that we can find maybe in the kitchen? What lets water pass through it? I know, a sponge. A sponge lets water pass through it. Rocks that are impermeable do not allow water to pass through. Do you have any permeable rocks in your collection? The next section is durable. Rocks that are durable are more resistant to weathering. So we use the word erosion or eroded. So it's broken down by rain and wind. More durable rocks, such as marble, have been chosen to create buildings and for outside use just for this reason, so it will not get eroded. Now let's have a think about the Sphinx in Giza. We can see that the Sphinx has been eroded a lot by the weather, so the rain and the wind have pulled away little pieces of the rock, which means it looks all weathered and bumpy. So that is definitely a non-durable rock. The last section is density. Density measures how bulky the rock is, not how heavy, but how close all of the little bits, all the little molecules are packed together. Density can be checked by testing the buoyancy, whether or not they float in water. So high density rocks sink, whereas low density rocks float. Do you have any rocks that float in your collection? Here we can find different ways of finding out information about the properties of rocks. We could test the rocks, which is what we're going to do in our next class. We could carry out these different tests to find out their properties. We could also look in books in the library about rock properties, and we can also do online research on the internet to find out the properties. Which ways are available for you? In our next class, we're going to be testing the rocks using different processes to find out their properties. For hard and soft, we're going to try and scratch off some of the rock with our fingernails or, as I said, a corner of a ruler if you don't have good fingernails. And we're going to be testing permeable or impermeable to see if bubbles come up when we put it inside a glass of water. And if you've been able to find the sandpaper, we're going to see if some of the rock wears down with friction by rubbing it on sandpaper. And then we're also going to see if any of our rocks that we found float. So please, please, please remember to get all of your equipment ready for Wednesday, and we will do the testing. So try and find as many different types of rocks as possible.